Hello, guys.
Hi, Ju. How are you?
I'm good. I'm learning so much with this session.
Ah,
I hope you
Good.
guys, record the live. Just, save that on Insta so the students can watch that later because, yeah, it's so important. You cannot imagine how useful the information was. I'm saying for myself, like I'm sure that the students will also learn a lot. It's a pleasure to be with you guys.
Thank you so much, Ju. Thank you for coming. Please tell us about you, about your job. Let's start on
I just
it.
hope, I'm Juliana, I'm one of the migration agents of Seven Migration. I joined the team last year and what I can say, I've been selling your courses, a lot. Not that I sell courses, but I send, a lot of
Maybe
students to
selling.
you. It's the same as selling, not getting commission, but just selling. No, just kidding, guys. Sorry. I'm like that, I'm always making some jokes. Yeah, but the information was really useful. I hope the information that I can give is as useful as yours.
Okay.
But yeah, definitely, as a migration agent, I can say that it's still one of the best pathways that the students can have or can follow when you think about migrating to Australia nowadays. Stephen was just saying about, what they said in the federal budget, a lot of investments coming in the construction industry. My husband actually studied at TAFE
Mhm.
Ashmore long time ago.
Good to hear that.
Oh,
Long time ago. He loved the course. He's a metal fabricator. He's a boil maker. So and yesterday he was saying, I want to be, a TAFE teacher. I was like, okay, try to be, But yeah, we have a very good life. It's not the same profession, of course, but we can compare both, and we have like a very good life. As you guys said, the wages they're quite good. He works in big construction, sites as the casino here in Sydney. I'm in Sydney. Yeah, so definitely still you one of the best pathways, no doubt about it. So yeah,
good.
I don't know if you have some questions, Gabi. So
Yes, I have so many questions actually. So, but tell us a little bit more about Seven Migration.
I think you guys all know Seven. No, I'm just kidding. No, yeah, we've been in the
Please.
market. Yeah, we've been in the market for a while now. And yeah, of course, we do have a lot of Brazilian clients, not just Brazilians, but we have a lot of Brazilian clients. We assisting all types of visas except students that I live with Information Planet. And yeah, so that's what we do. We do consultations. We discuss with them what they want, in their lives and the best pathways, and we discuss about courses. We suggest, the specific course they need to study to meet the requirements so they can, apply for a graduate visa. We're going to discuss about that, soon. Yeah, but so that's what we do. We find solutions. So, we try to find solutions in terms of, suggesting the best pathways to get to the permanent residency.
Okay, cool, Ju. And you guys are based in Sydney?
Sydney,
In
I'm in Sydney, so we have the head office in Perth and also an office in Adelaide. Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, Ju, the most common ways of migrating to Australia.
Yeah.
Could you please tell us?
Wow, the most common ways. If you think about, let's focus on what we discussed about carpentry. Yeah, but basically we do have, that's the way that I like to explain. I know that, the migration agents, they explain things differently, but that's the way that I like to explain. We do have, I like to say that we have the sponsored visas where, of course, you rely on a company to have a visa, to be sponsored, to have a visa. And also we do have the skilled visas, or, you can say the points tested visas, the 199, the 189, the 190, and the 491. As I said, the sponsor, you rely on a company. So it really depends on finding a job and, finding a company which is willing to sponsor this person to work in the company. And then you're going to be able to work only in the company for a certain period of time. And that is, of course, a PR pathway if you consider, being sponsored as a carpenter specifically, that's the topic today. With the skilled migration, it doesn't rely on companies. It does not rely on sponsorships and even on employment or work experience. However, a lot of skills assessment, which is a requirement to apply for a skilled visa, then the work experience will be mandatory. So it's all linked, but basically sponsored companies, skilled visas or points tested visas is based on the candidate's profile.
Okay, good. So Ju, what you mean is if I study carpentry, I can migrate to Australia, right?
Do you want to get answers like this, huh? Okay, look, I'd love to say yes. What I can say, you have a very good pathway to try to migrate. The thing is, I cannot, as a migration agent and knowing the challenges that, the applicants may face in finding a company or even to achieve the points required, the minimum points required on a points tested visa. I cannot say that, the person will get to the PR because that's beyond my control. But what I can say is that a lot of, PR pathways will involve studying in Australia. I can say 70 to 80% of the strategies that I discuss with my clients, that will include at certain stage studying in Australia. So carpentry within the construction industry, it's one of the occupations that can lead, the applicants to a very good pathway to apply for a PR visa. And when I say PR, again, we have, PRs based on a sponsor and PRs based on a points tested visa. So basically, if you want to use the carpentry as an example of a good strategy, that will normally include 2 years of studies. And as far as I know, the TAFE course is 104 weeks, which means 2 years. So the person will need to study a 2 years certificate 3 at least in carpentry. If the course duration is not as long as the TAFE course, meaning less than 92 weeks, then the person may need to complete another qualification, which is the certificate 4 in building and construction. We don't recommend diploma, but the certificate 4 instead. And the combination of studying a certificate 3 plus completing 2 years of studies in Australia, it will lead, if of course carpenters continue to be in the national, the federal demand list in Australia, the medium and long-term list, that will lead the applicant to a potential graduate visa, the 485, which is just a visa, to give them the option of working full-time in Australia without studying. And then
1 year and a half visa, right?
1 year and a half, yeah. So the graduate visa has 2 streams. One of the streams is the post-study for those studying higher education. That's not the stream that we are talking about today. The other stream is the graduate work, which is 18 months visa. Plus, a little bit of time that they stay in the bridging visa waiting for a decision to come to be made in the graduate visa. So the students will have, for those starting in the carpentry, career, for those without experience, they will have to complete 1 year of full-time work experience after the course. And then we're going to start talking. So basically that's the minimum, that they will need, I would say, in order to have a PR pathway.
Okay, good.
Tell me, go.
1 year and a half postgraduate visa, 485. Yeah. Okay, and there are some stages that the person needs to complete, right?
Yeah. So basically during the course, in order to, so the step-by-step would be study the 2 years course, either going to be just a certificate 3 of 2 years or certificate 3 in carpentry plus certificate 4 in commercial, in building and construction. My God, I was just about to say commercial cookery. So used to that. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So basically the certificate 3 in carpentry plus the certificate 4 in building and construction. And then completing the 2 years course, the person will, if the person completes at least 360 hours of vocational placement, work placement, which is part of the course, Or if the person, you know, is already working as a carpenter during the course, if the person completes 360 hours of work, then the person will be entitled to, will be eligible to apply for a provisional skills assessment. As the name says, you know, it's just a skills assessment for a provisional visa. And the provisional visa would be the graduate visa, the 485. So the person will study, complete the 360 hours, will be able to apply for a provisional skills assessment with the assessing authority, Trades Recognition Australia, the TRA. And with that being done, the person will be eligible to apply for a graduate visa via the graduate work stream, which is the 18-month stream. During the 18 months, the person will be, you know, will have to complete plus it's 1,725 hours, something like that. It's basically 1 year work experience full time as a carpenter to be able, you know, to be eligible to complete the skills assessment, meaning, you know, to obtain a full skills assessment, and then having the full skills assessment, a skilled visa or a points tested visa will be in the cards. But of course, it will depend on other factors as well. So it is, you know, a very straightforward pathway. The only problem that we have is that sometimes, you know, my clients, they believe it's just a matter of studying and not working, and they'll get the PR. So there are no guarantees about getting the PR. The first, you know, it's very important to say that. It depends on what you're going to do with your time, you know, during your time here in Australia. And also, if you don't get a job within the industry, then you're not going to be able to meet all of the requirements and, you know, moving forward with the PR strategy. But it's a very straightforward strategy, even for those that never worked as a carpenter in their lives.
Okay, okay. Ju, another question. Is there a difference between studying in a regional area or in the major cities?
Yes, that is. So basically, carpenters, they are on demand in Australia. So they are on a medium and long-term skilled occupation list, which means that the location is not as important as if, you know, if what another type of course or another profession where the demand is not national, but like a local, you know, state or regional demand. What I'm trying to say is, if you study in the big cities, like study on what we call non-regional areas, which is basically Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane, you're still going to have a pathway, but it might be a little bit harder. So you definitely benefit in studying, you know, in the regional areas, because you're going to get more points. So you're going to get, you know, you're going to get score extra points for studying in regional, you know, Australia. And you might be also eligible to try, you know, a points tested visa, but the regional one. So I cannot say that if the person do not study in regional areas, that the person will not be eligible to try the skilled regional visa, which is the 491, because I'll be lying. You know, some clients, they will be able to do that even without studying in the regional areas. But in regards of points, at least the 5 extra points for a study in regional area, that will definitely be, you know, a plus.
Okay, cool. Ju, is a Job Ready program available for this course?
Yeah, what I explained, because I jumped, I think, your questions, Nagabi, but basically the Job Ready program is the full skills assessment that I was talking about.
Ah, okay.
So the Job Ready program is just the full skills assessment. The thing is, for the visas that the skills assessment is mandatory, we do have with this assessing authority, the TRA, 3 types of assessment. Actually, we have 4 types of assessment. For those starting, you know, in this career, the Job Ready program will be the easiest way, you know, of obtaining the full skills assessment, which is required for some visas. So the Job Ready program has 4 steps. The first one is the provisional skills assessment, which is based on the 360 hours of work during the course. And that's mandatory, you know, the person needs to obtain the provisional skills assessment to have a 485 visa, graduate visa approved. Sometimes you can lodge the provisional skills assessment, lodge the visa only with the evidence of lodgement of the skills assessment. But once, you know, the case is allocated to a case officer, the 485 process, then, you know, they will ask for the result, you know, the positive assessment, and you give the positive assessment and they will approve the visa. So the step one of the job ready program is basically, you know, the 360 hours plus the course. And then once you get the graduate visa, you have enough time during the graduate visa to complete the steps 2, 3, and 4, which is basically the step 2, 1 year of full-time work experience. Step 3 is a technical interview or a practical assessment. And the step 4 is just, you know, the final assessment, combining everything.
Okay, good. And Ju, how good should be my English to apply?
Then I get to what I didn't get his name in the beginning of the live, but I think it's Steven.
Yes,
Is that
Steven.
correct? Yeah. So
Steven.
so I totally, you know, agree with what he said. It's very rare not to, you know, it's very rare to have a client studying carpentry without being working as such. So it's very easy to find a job in the construction industry in general, I would say. I know that sometimes, you know, they start working, you know, as a labor and then they move into the carpenter position. So that's very common. When you think the PR pathways, we have a pathway via the sponsored visas, as I said, and one pathway, you know, via the points tested visas. The PR pathway via sponsor, the English is not as high as if you think about the points tested visas. Because in order to be sponsored by a company, the English requirement is even lower than the English requirement on a graduate visa. So the graduate visa asks for an overall 6, minimum 5 in each band. Let's just use the IELTS as, you know, as an example. And for the sponsored visa, the 482, the temporary sponsorship, the requirement for carpenters is minimum 5 in each. So it's lower than the graduate visa requirement, which means that 5 and 6 is not a, you know, super hard to achieve. You know, of course, I understand it's just about the test, but it's not as hard as, you know, as achieving 7 or 8 to have enough points to try the points tested visas. So to have, you know, I explain about the skills assessment, but if you are sponsored, then the skills assessment is not required. The job ready program is not a requirement of the 482 visa, but instead you're going to have to complete 2 years of full-time work experience to be sponsored. So in one pathway, we have, you know, the score and what you need to achieve and the competition and the skills assessment. On the other hand, we're going to have the sponsor. You need to find a company, you need to find a job. The English is not as, you know, as high as the points tested visas, but you need 2 years of full-time work experience.
Okay, good. 2
So
years,
yeah,
right?
it depends on the pathway.
Okay. So the next question would be about the packages, Certificate 3 and 34 in building construction. You already told us about it. You can package it and we cannot package it depending of the length of the course of the school, actually, right? But at least to apply for 485, 92 weeks, of course, right?
Yes. So
Okay.
the only thing that I wanna add is what I said, you know, I briefly said about the diploma and certificate 4. So the best combination is certificate 3 in carpentry and certificate 4 in building and construction. I've seen a lot of, you know, students doing the diploma instead of the certificate 4. For many years, you know, it was accepted as relevant, but the department started saying that, you know, the diploma in building and construction is more related to management than the technical, you know, side of the, you know, the profession, you know, the trade occupation, which means that, you know, ideally, if the person needs to complete more time of studies to qualify for the graduate visa, which is you know, which requires 2 years of studies, then certificate 4 is the one to go.
Okay, Ju, another question. If the immigration changed the list, what's happened? Because now we have actually carpenter in the list. if it changes before, after my course, or during the time that I'm doing the course, what happened?
Yeah. If they don't do what they, in some cases, do, you know, and what we call transitional arrangements, meaning those already studying will still be entitled to apply. If that's not the case, if they remove the occupation from the medium and long-term skilled occupation list, then the person will not be entitled to apply for a graduate visa. And that'll be the worst scenario that we can have. If the person is not entitled to apply for the graduate visa, the person will have problems, will most likely have problems to complete the job ready program, the 1 year of full-time work experience, meaning that the person will need more experience. And when I say more, is at least 3 years post-qualification experience to be able to obtain a positive skills assessment for a points-tested visa via a different pathway than the job ready program. So the TRA has a different type of assessment, but then they will ask 3 years of post-qualification experience. And so it will be harder. So definitely, I can't comment on changes because we never know what can happen. That's, again, it's not with us. They don't change the list very often, as people, you know, all my clients, they keep saying, you know, but they change all the time. They put occupations, you know, they remove occupations, they put them back. Not like that. I don't agree with that. We had big changes in the past, but they don't change that all the time. Considering the massive investment that they will do in the construction industry within the next, 4 to 5 years, I doubt they will remove carpenters from the list.
Yeah, I would say that. And the most, because of the COVID time right now, the industry is still like, so
it never stopped. Never stopped.
Never.
No, my husband works in the construction, never stopped. Yeah, he stopped like a few days because someone was, tested positive. But 24 hours, then he was back. Thanks God. So the construction didn't stop. Yeah.
Cool. Ju, can I ask you something? I would like to, because I have a lot of students, they don't know how to read the list. And sometimes they come with me and Gabby, how can I read the list? Because we don't have the course in the list. We have the position, the ANFCO code, So I just would like to know, because they have a lot of doubts. Okay, when I saw the position, how can I know if I need to do a higher education course or a vet course? If you can explain a little bit about the list, would be good.
Okay, look, it's not that easy, and I understand why. It's just the way that the department announces or publish the list. It's hard to search for the positions. You basically need to put the occupation and then going to show the visas that you may be entitled to apply for. It is a little bit confusing. I have my own ways, of searching for those lists because, of course, I have access to some portals, and it's not the same as you guys. But what I can say is, with the trade occupations, let's just talk about the trade occupations. With the trade occupations, that will be on the last pages of the medium long-term skilled occupation list. Yeah, the long-term list. That'll be on the last pages. Normally, the code, the occupation code starts with number 3. And if you know how to search for, or just put on Google, Trades Recognition Australia, in their website, they have a specific PDF with the specific qualification that the person needs to complete for those occupations. So that's the only authority which will give us the exact occupation. So what I can do, I can give you the link later, and you put on as a comment in in any thread or any in your feed or something. If you record the live, you can put the link there.
Very helpful. Yeah, because they have a lot of doubts about it. It would be really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Ju.
Gabby, we are just, I was just saying that they're going to cut us. They're going to cut us at 4:30. What time do we start?
I could talk with you more time, but we have to cut that. Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Good to talk with you all the time. Thank you. Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you so much. So if you have any doubts, send to us, and I can talk to you and try to help you. Okay?
Yeah, I can record a video, answer the questions. Bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Bye.